Hi, and welcome to No Boundaries Mother and Daughter Edition, the podcast. This is a podcast in which we, a mother and daughter duo, have open and honest conversations about controversial topics, but also about pop culture. And we all do that while also exploring our unbreakable bonds. And I am the mother, and my name is Anusha.
And I'm the daughter, and my name is Lulu.
And as you can see, we have a fantastic guest. It's my dear, dear, dear friend Tanisha, and she is a visual storyteller and a ceremonialist on a mission to restore feminine wisdom through storytelling while helping women activate the goddess within. She's the high priestess at the Mysterium Academy, where she teaches ancient spiritual modalities. And she's also a cultural commentator and a friend to many, a friend very much to me. And I also know her as one of the most amazing, best photographers I know. She has a beautiful photography book. We'll link it, of course, all in our show notes. Order her book on Amazon. It's about, talk about representation and beautiful women. Get that book. Welcome, Tanisha.
Hey, y'all. As I turn to Miss Minutes, okay, because I'm from Texas. So if the southernness kind of pops out, that's what that is.
Okay, lovely. So wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for wanting to be in our podcast. Yes, we want to talk about, I think, a very important conversation, and I'm so happy that especially you, as a woman who activates the goddess within women and a priestess, wants to talk about this in an open and honest way.
Yes.
We want to talk about colorism and featurism. Why I really thought it was a good moment to talk about it. We had an amazing episode with the two fantastic, gorgeous women and best friends behind Olandria Core. A very popular Stan account. They have over 60,000, I think almost 65,000 followers now. And they, curate, they're like an online magazine, a Stan account that curates everything to do with Nick and Olandria, aka Nick Olandria from Love Island USA Season 7. And as we know, they're a beautiful, gorgeous mixed couple who, we saw them fall in love with each other. Mm-hmm. And when Lulu and I spoke to them about, their experience with interracial relationships or flirts or anything or dating, they both said that it's not that they're not open to it, it's just that they both felt growing up, we are not the type of black women, guys who we find attractive, are attracted to. The girls they saw representation-wise were always skinny models with really long straight hair and, more, should we say, Eurocentric features. So that, hurt me. And when I was growing up, which is a long time ago, I thought it would be over. By the time I'm old and I have a daughter who's, 22, I thought it would be over. But it's obviously still a subject, and especially considering representation. That's what because nobody said that to them at home. They just, when they look at the world around them, they realized, forget it.
Well, I also think we had Iman and David Bowie.
No, I know, but Iman is a supermodel with... There you go. Yeah, that's a perfect example of, of course...
Of dark skin, at least dark skin with a non-black man, right?
Well, definitely, but her features, where she's from, Somali, is considered the most beautiful black women in the world because of their sort of Western, thin nose and high cheekbones and Western features, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I think it's an amazing topic to discuss. And because you work with women and because you come from an African-American family with all different colors and features, I'm so happy to discuss this.
I'm excited. This is going to be a great conversation.
Yeah.
What was your first experience with colorism and featurism, and when did you realize that it was a thing for you?
So for me, the context of me being for Texas, right next to Louisiana, where the whole Creole thing was huge, colorism was a big part of the culture in Texas. Now, even though my family looks very diverse, I was telling Anusha is the color that my grandmother was. My grandmother was the exact same color as Anusha. A lot of people, when they see her picture, think she's Latin, and she's not. She's just a black American. And my grandfather was a very dark-skinned black man, and so our family kind of spanned the color range. And so I did not experience colorism at home. It wasn't until I went into the school system. And I will say maybe around... second or third grade, I had a black boy look at me and say, "Oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl." What does that mean?
And what, so how old were you then?
I was, well, like 8 or 9.
Wow. And
Eight
he
or
was,
nine.
and he was a black boy as
I was
well.
a black boy.
And what did it do with you? What happened when he said that?
Well, to me, because it's so interesting, I was a very quirky kid in that I had a lot of personality and confidence. So I just blew it off. I think because I did not experience it at home, it didn't really land the way I think it was intended to. And even when I kept hearing that same refrain as I got older, I was like, okay. I typically date men who like me, as my roommate would say. So the majority of the men that were attracted to me were not black. So for me, it was their problem. It wasn't a me problem. I liked my skin. I wish I was darker. I will say there were times where I felt like, and I don't know where the thought process came from, that if I was lighter skinned, I would have more men who liked me. That came about around middle school, high school, and I'm not exactly sure what triggered that. I think I was just looking around me and seeing how the world was operating and going, oh, these things are happening, these good things are happening for people who are lighter than me. So maybe that's why these things are not happening for me. That was my concept, but I couldn't tell you where it came from.
I see. And you said how, like, usually it was not black men who were attracted to you? Why do you think, like, that is? Yeah.
Yeah, speak on that. Yeah.
It was, so I was that girl, like, the whole concept, Anisha, you would know this because we were similar in age, of black love. Like, now I will say I'm black and I'm in love, so I have black love. That's what I would say. But I found that it was very interesting. Like, in high school, all my boyfriends were black, mind you, all of them. They were black. But I found that it was a certain type of black male that liked me. Whereas the most of them were always trying to humble me in some sort of way because I was just too confident. And then it was like the white boys, the Latin boys. It was very small because I did not attract a lot of men. It wasn't that I attracted a lot, but then when I did attract them, I noticed that they were not, what people say I would attract because I was dark skinned and because of my features.
And when you say people say, so that implies only men or also at that age women?
Women too, because in the South they have this thing called the paper bag test. If you were darker than the paper bag, the brown paper bag, you were too dark. That was a thing. that was an actual thing.
From the supermarket paper bag?
Yes, the brown paper bag from the supermarket. If you were darker than the brown paper bag, you were unattractive.
But just the idea of comparing a human being to a paper bag is already... Yeah, is that a Southern thing? It's
a very Southern thing, but it's really steeped in what I would call anti-blackness, internalized anti-blackness, and I don't think we realize that we got that from slavery because the light-skinned people worked in the house, which means they had better privileges than the dark-skinned people who worked in the field. So that's where, in America, particularly in the United States, that's where that sort of idea comes from. And then somehow we carried it into our own cultures. And so, like, for example, when you go to like Atlanta, you go to New Orleans, this sort of Creole mindset, because the word Creole itself originally meant people who were born in Louisiana, that originated from Louisiana, because at that time you had a lot of people coming in after the Haitian Revolution into New Orleans, bringing their enslaved Africans to escape that revolution. And so that word Creole originally meant that you were a native to Louisiana at that particular time and not someone who came in. And then it somehow morphed into meaning like these mixed race women because they had these privileges in New Orleans. Like if you were a quadroon or an octoroon, then you could marry, well, they didn't marry you, but you can be in a relationship with a rich white man who will put you up and take care of you and his kids.
Is that so the song, like Creole Lady Marmalade? Is that
So that's where that came from.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you say that because, of course, I'm so curious, Lulu, how you feel about that. We've had discussions, right, growing up about your color or how you identify. And I remember, I think, talking to you about it, like especially in the United States, that I don't know if anybody knows Sally Heming, who was like the forced mistress of Thomas Jefferson. That was one of the founding fathers who, like, I think wrote even the Constitution. His mistress for years was Sally Hemings. I mean, wasn't a mistress, he actually groomed her. When they met, she was 13, and he started sleeping with her when she was 15. And she was the half-sister of his wife, Lulu, who passed away, by a white man and an enslaved woman. And her Sally Hemings' mom was 50% black. And Sally Hemings was the daughter of like a white plantation owner and a woman who looked like me. And she was your color. And she was enslaved her whole life. Her whole life. And then Thomas Jefferson started sleeping with her when she was 15. And yeah, she was his... Yeah, she stayed with him till he died. He never
had lots of kids with him.
Lots of kids, and the only deal she made with him, because he took her to Paris, she had to take care of his children. So can you imagine? He was sleeping with her, and she was the nanny, and she was in Paris. And in Paris, in France, slavery was already not allowed and was abolished. And her brother stayed in Paris and said, "Why you should stay?" But of course, that piece of ass got her pregnant. So she was 15, in Paris, pregnant, had nowhere to go, or she would stay and be a single mom at 16. And she made a deal with Thomas Jefferson. She said, like, okay, I'll come back. But the children, as soon as they're 18 years old, you let them free. Because they were 1/8 black. Yeah. 1/8. So he was quarter black, so their kids would be 1/8 black. And that was sort of like on the cusp, right? Yeah. But then so the kids left at 18 and she never saw them again because they had to pretend they're white. So they could never return home or say that she was their mom. Can you imagine?
Wow. It's horrible.
How deep, how extremely sycophantic, nasty, horrible colorism works.
Wait, it's going to get worse. Because those octoroons and quadroons in New Orleans, they were created on purpose so that they could be sourced out to those white men.
Yeah. Horrible. I studied acting in New York in the 90s, and one of the plays we read was called The Octoroon. And it's about a woman who's 1/8 black, and during the play she finds out she's an octoroon because she's of course completely, practically white passing. And then she finds out, like right before her wedding to this southern whatever, lord. And the play ends with her, sacrificing herself not to ruin that white family, not to ruin their name, and she commits suicide. Sort of like a Madame Butterfly, story of sacrificing for the good of the white family of her, fiancé, as to not embarrass him that she is 1/8 black.
Yes.
And it's a play.
Yeah, because in America, the one-drop room did exist. So they changed the law where the child takes the status of the father, and now the child takes the status of the mother, because the white males were having a good time. And so what they would end up having is this population of mixed race kids that were free instead of enslaved. So they changed it to now the child takes the status of the mother, which is why what we're doing now in the United States is really like a problem, right? So that created that situation. Then there was the one drop rule. So basically, even if you were 1/16 black and you look like a whole ass white person, you were black because it was muddying their waters, right? And that was the way that they could enslave you again, even though you look white. So this whole one drop rule is a problem. It's problematic because how then do you identify someone as one race, even though we know race is a construct? How do you identify it? Well, there are certain things, like you were saying in the beginning, when people look at you and they see you're light skinned, but you have features that are West African, right? Okay, I can see you from afar and be like, oh, she's black, but not really, because I've actually seen Russian people with the same features. So it's not, this whole idea of featurism is really strange to me. And this whole idea of Western features are popular because have you seen the snozzes on white people? people? Like, what are we talking about here? You know? And so with that one drop rule, it caused a lot of confusion within the Black community in the United States specifically. Because if someone can be 1/16th Black and be considered Black, then what is someone who is 87% Black, right? Then this concept doesn't make sense to me, right? I think that was also the issue that Meghan Markle had, even though she's biracial, but because she looks, she doesn't look white to me. That, I guess because I come from family members that look like that, so she didn't look like, I recognized her when I was watching her on Suits right away that she had Black somewhere. It's that sort of dissonance, that visual dissonance, but it was also a way of them keeping us enslaved.
Yeah.
And keeping their blood pure. And what would happen is, in some cases, because in the beginning, in 1619, when they started bringing us over here from Angola, they would free those people after a while. And they would end up marrying, the Black men would end up marrying the indentured Irish women. And then they would have these biracial kids that those people would try to re-enslave. So what they would do is they start moving. And then they start marrying these Native Americans. So now they look visually white, but their skin is dark. They got light eyes and dark hair. Well, who are you? So they start lying and say they were Black Dutch people. That's how they got out of being re-enslaved. Because any piece of Black, it doesn't matter, meant that you were supposed to be in the slave class in this country. And that doesn't talk about the free Blacks. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's all, yeah. Wow. And that still has such an effect on the young generation now. These are, the girls from the Olandria Corps, two beautiful, gorgeous women, grown up, what you would think with so much more diversity to look at, because they both said, Lulu, a lot has to do with representation.
Right.
Not seeing yourself in the media and everything, but it's so much better than when you and I grew up, right, Tanisha?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's what's so sad about it in a lot of ways. I remember, like, Saved by the Bell and the relationship between the Black girl and the blonde guy. Remember, they were together at one point. Then they had a couple of more shows after I graduated high school in '94, where there was a whole, and I can't remember the show. I've just seen pictures of it because I didn't watch the show, where there was a whole lot of dark-skinned Black women with white men partners in these TV shows. And so it shocks me that, Lulu's generation would still kind of play to this. And I actually posted about this on Threads, and I said, if you are still a Black woman being surprised that white men are attracted to you or Asian men are attracted to you or whatever, you believe the lie that you are the most unattractive group in the world, despite the fact that everyone gets plastic surgery to look like you. So make that make sense. We need to have a conversation. What are you believing? Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No.
So Lulu, tell us about your generation and how, and also maybe the difference, because you're in New York City, so that's
Yeah.
I think for me, the first time I realized about colorism being a thing was most definitely when I moved to New York and I went to high school.
Oh.
So in Amsterdam, like the Netherlands, I was basically only surrounded by white people. There was very few Black people that I knew. And it was kind of more of a sense where in Amsterdam it's more like separated. You have like Black people that hang out together and white people hang out together. But I didn't really feel like there was much colorism within the Black community specifically. I felt like it's more like you had to stick together because there wasn't that many Black people. Whereas in New York, I went from being the only person of color in class to then coming to a school where I was basically the whitest person, and I was known as the European new girl, and where nobody even like recognized that I was Black. They all saw me as either European or like Hispanic, and
They thought you were Latino?
so it was very like a big switch from how I was like, I guess, perceived. And that was also the first time I realized how much hate there was within the Black community itself towards like darker skinned women specifically. And I think that was the most shocking part for me, was how this colorism, at least in my experience, it was completely like run by the men. Like it was completely ran by men. And it was like almost this new way for dark skinned men of like maybe getting power that they didn't have in the real world. Because it was completely ruled by men. Men were the ones pushing this whole narrative of dark-skinned women and these horrible stereotypes and why they weren't dateable and why they would only use them for sex and not for like a relationship, like all these things. Meanwhile, dark-skinned women, light-skinned women, they were all dating dark-skinned men. They didn't care if the guy was light-skinned or dark-skinned. The men were the ones who had an issue, which then made it into this thing where most of the dark-skinned women automatically didn't want to be my friend, and I never took it in a way where it's like, oh, like they're discriminating against me. I always saw like it made me sad because it was more of a form of like protection and self-defense because of the experience they've had with lighter skinned women using probably that male validation and using that privilege and advantage. So it was more for them, I guess, to protect themselves from like dealing with somebody like that. So it was very sad in the sense where a lot of women, like darker skinned women, they wouldn't be friends with lighter skinned women and vice versa because of this whole competition for the male validation. So yeah, that was my experiences with colorism in high school.
And how is it now in your 20s and when you go out with your friends, and is it still a thing now that you're out of high school and studying and meeting people in your 20s?
Honestly, right now in my life, it's not a thing. And that's really because I'm mainly surrounded in the queer community. I don't really hang out with men that much anymore. And I think that's why I probably don't realize it. And when I do go with my straight friends to like straight clubs, the vibes are very much still there. Like it's still the same type of dark skinned men that like are only pulling like every light skinned girl in the club or white girl. So it's definitely still a thing. And it's to the point where when I do hang out with straight guys and I hear them say certain things, I'm like, oh, right, like that's a thing. Like I kind of forgot about it because I'm only hanging out with like queer women and like non-binary individuals. So for them, it's definitely not a thing. No, it's definitely a male thing in my experience.
Yeah, so you're saying, just to be clear, that in the queer community, colorism amongst women and non-binary individuals is not a thing.
No, not at all. And especially, obviously, I spoke about this a lot, how like specifically dark-skinned women, if anything, are more likely to date dark-skinned women because of that deeper sense of connection and safety that they feel with each other. So yeah, it's definitely not a thing in the queer community, in my experience.
Wait, in New York?
Yeah, of course.
Come out here. California,
Of course.
that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I'm in New York, guys.
Yeah.
Brooklyn
Yes,
specifically is
Tanisha?
where I go out.
So Tanisha, is it different in LA or you mean the South?
LA and Oakland, because I lived in both, right? Like colorism here, it's not actually color. It's very interesting. It's not colorism, it's exoticism.
So what do you mean by that?
So
And here is LA, right? You're now in LA, or
yeah, so I'm right outside of, I'm LA adjacent, as I call it. I'm in the Inland Empire. But I have to go there a lot, and I deal with people there a lot, right? And so basically here it's exoticism. So because here in California, the miscegenation laws that we had in the United States were more towards black and white people mixing. In California, it was white and Asian. That was their miscegenation laws. They hated that the Filipino boys and the Chinese boys were getting the white girls, and they were like, we ain't doing that. So what ended up happening is you found that a lot of black people ended up mixing with the Latin community and the Asian community here, which created a different class of features. And so what the men are looking for here, and the women too, because I had a lot of queer friends in Oakland specifically, like Oakland is the lesbian capital of the United States, is what I call it. So I got to be around and hear all the conversations around that. And it's the same stuff, but it's more about not necessarily you being light skinned, but you looking exotic. So for example, Chili from TLC would be a commodity here. Even though she's a dark skinned girl, but she has the good hair and so it's that here.
Yeah. And me with my lighter skin but my more African features would be less of a commodity.
Yeah.
Ow, painful. Yeah.
I don't fit in either way. No, South New York. I'm gonna tell you, New York will gas you up. I lived in New York. Yeah. I lived in New York in my 20s, and I thought I had confidence. By the time I left New York, you couldn't tell me nothing.
No, literally. But then another thing is, yeah, like I said, there's no colorism. Obviously, I'm not talking about the white community. There's definitely like a gap between the white queer community and then the people of color queer community. Let me just
Hmm.
get that out of the way. And it's interesting because yeah, because I've been to like last week I went to a lesbian oil wrestling competition, and that event was the most like
I need
diverse.
pictures.
Oh, you can't take pictures. That's the thing. That was the most diverse like event I went to, where it was like really like usually they're pretty separate in events. You know if it's gonna be like a white or like a black event, but this one was very like diverse and like all kinds of people were there, which was really cool. But you definitely like when you look through the audience, there's such a gap. Like you have these white friend groups and then you have black friend groups, so it's definitely like a big gap in the queer community between black and white people. Yeah.
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 I feel like that gap is going to get more and more with the politics that's happening. I think that gap's going to get wider, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. So to bring it back to you, Tanisha, so you were raised, like, thank God, in a very open family, all kind of colors of the rainbow. So you always, grew up feeling pretty, feeling sure of yourself. Is there a moment that you had to kind of like maybe talk about colorism or featurism, maybe with a partner or with friends or friend group? Is there a conversation you?
With some friends, yeah. So my one of my best friends in high school was biracial, so she was like Lulu's color. And when we would go out, I would have guys I would have guys be like, "Dark skin black man, by the way." They would be
Wait,
like, "Hey,"
again, I couldn't hear that part.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Dark skinned black men."
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
They
no,
were like, "Hey, black." I'm black. Hey, black. Get your red bone friend or your yellow bone friend. They use that word interchangeably, although they do mean two different things. But get your yellow bone friend to come talk to me. But I'm a
wow,
bitch, so
yeah. You could handle it,
like no. Like no, you're not gonna talk to me like that and expect me to help you out. If you want to talk to her, you go talk to her. And my friend, because she was from Buffalo and she moved to Houston in ninth grade. And she didn't like it either because what they don't realize is those if those women are raised a certain way, they don't like the experience of being fetishized because that's basically what it is. And I think that's why it's interesting to me that a lot of black women are afraid to date white men because they believe they're being fetishized, not realizing that your own men are fetishizing you if you look a certain way.
yeah, yeah.
And
Can
so
you
we
Yeah.
go
can
And
ahead.
you
that
explain the red bone, yellow bone thing?
Okay, so depending on, I think it's a regional thing. So when I talk to my friends in New York, red bone and yellow bone are interchangeable. In Texas, they sometimes use it interchangeably, but usually yellow bone is someone who's black mixed with like European descent or Asian, maybe. Red bone is typically someone who is black mixed with Native American,
Gotcha.
typically.
Wow.
Now, at least that's how it was when I was growing up. That may have changed, so I don't really know because I haven't really lived in Texas for a while. But that's how it went down, and so and you could see it. The undertones, if they have red undertones, they were red bone. If they had yellow undertones, they were yellow bone.
Right
Absolutely,
here,
yeah,
yellow.
yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Interesting. No, that story that you said actually like reminded me like it was interesting as well in my high school to see how like dark skinned men specifically they would like be like very like colorist towards dark skinned women and they would like want to date light skinned women, but then they still expected there to be some form of sisterhood between the dark skinned women when it came to like getting the girls or like friend wise, like how you said in your story that they still come to
Mhm.
you to get the girl,
yeah.
not realizing how the audacity that they're having right now, like it's always baffled me to see it because it's like what you like hate them, but then you expect them to be your friend. Like wow,
Yeah,
Mm.
the
All the
confidence, I mean, of
the
white
confidence.
mediocre men is unbelievable. But also, I'm sorry to say, brothers, of our black men, sometimes I'm like, seriously?
You know what's really interesting to me in my experience? Black men are more confident. White men are not confident when it comes to approaching us. And
American,
so,
American
so
white
right, because what it is a lot of black women don't think white men find them attractive. That's because they mix the clues of that attraction, right?
men.
White men do it differently. They're not. boisterous with their attraction. They're not in your face with their attraction, right?
No, and
We see,
they're yeah,
go ahead.
they
Yeah.
expect like the women to come up to them, like in white communities, like they expect the girls to get drunk at a party and be like, "Oh my God, Brad." Meanwhile, for black men, it's normalized to go up to girls. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? That's part of it. But
Mhm.
number two, they believe we're not attracted to them.
Yeah.
It's true. When I studied here in the 90s, and because I'm from the Netherlands, and I was raised really, a proximity to whiteness. So I would naturally, with my friends, my acting friends, go to white bars, like to Irish pubs, whatever. And I never thought, oh, that's weird, because that's what I knew my
Right.
whole. So, and I would be bold and talk to white guys and flirt and everybody. And I remember literally having conversation with white guys like, oh my God, this never happens. And oh my God, this is so exciting. And oh, okay, guys, simmer down, But they were
Right.
really, you don't know, because I'm talking 95, 96. So you don't know how this is, blowing my mind, because it's so difficult to talk to girls who look like you or blah, 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 blah. So I made so many, even if nothing happened, I made a lot of white male friends.
Right.
So happy, like, oh, come back next week, bring all your black friends.
Right. No, it's serious. I remember I was 30 years old when I had this epiphany. White women don't give a fuck. Like, if they see something they like, they going for it. They're going to go for it. So with black women, we are used to our men coming to us and not us chasing them. So you'll hear black women say, I ain't chasing him. Well, showing interest is not chasing, number one. Okay. And number two, white men show interest different. Did that guy bring you a cup of coffee today? Hey, Tanisha, I was thinking about you and I was at Starbucks and I got you a cup of coffee. You think he being friendly. You know what a white man told me once? Men are not friendly to women they're not attracted to.
No, they're not. They're really not.
And
They're homosocial.
I have never forgot that. I have never forgot that. And so what happens is, because it's so subtle, black women assume that these men are not attracted to them. I wouldn't even say Asian men move similarly, right? And they don't realize that they're not attracted. I've missed it many times. I will tell you, I have missed it many times. And it wasn't until that friend told me that men don't typically talk to women they're not attracted to.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that changed the whole game. And so I think that in this conversation, because if you think about, we're talking about Nick and Olandria, right? Nick showed interest in the beginning. Olandria missed it. She missed it. She didn't realize it. And so what did he do? He pulled back.
Yeah.
And then he would just show her in different ways that he liked her. And she would be like, she'd think about it, but she's like, nah, that can't be, because I'm black and I'm dark skinned and I'm from Alabama. Nah, they just showed it.
I just wish he would have told her that he was the one who kissed her with the
I
blindfold.
too.
I feel like that would have changed so much.
Oh my God.
No, and she almost chose him right on day one, because when he was standing with Beldasha, he was literally mouthing to her. He was literally like saying to her, "I'm here, I'm here."
Was he actually mouthing?
Yeah. Now, of course, check out the "Come Here" cream on X, and everybody's discussing it like, "Oh my God, look at his mouth." He was completely like, he was like moving towards her, and she said literally like she didn't pick him then because she felt like, oh, I don't want to compete with Beldasha. I'll just, and she also liked, three
He
dreads.
liked Taylor. I didn't get that.
There is what she knew.
Yeah, so she was being polite. She was being polite. She didn't follow her own passion.
Yeah.
But it was so funny when I think one of the last episodes when she said again, how did we miss this? She was really like, so weird. And he was really looking at her, girl, you missed this.
Missed it. I didn't.
I didn't miss it.
I did not. I knew what I wanted when I came through them damn doors. Because you saw it. You saw the initial attraction when him and Ace walked in, and
he walked with Ace?
Yes, they walked in together.
They walked in together, dressed like the hip hop Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Ace was in white and Nick was in black.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, you will have to see Brown Sugar to understand that reference. So they walk in together, and you can see when Nick noticed her in that moment. Because he was like, oh. Because when she said, oh, boy, she was talking to A, she was like, oh, you young. You still a baby. You still got breast milk on your breath. And Nick goes, I'm 24. I don't have breast milk on my breath.
That was literally, I think, his first sentence. First sentence he said was, we're home, or something like that. And that was his second sentence to her. And even with the edits, Lulu, it's so mean. They kind of like turned it around that you're not really sure, is he looking at her or at Shelley or someone else, right? They played sort of with the edits. But of course, us, Olandria obsessed, if you analyze it, he's looking at her all the time. All the time.
All the time. Even when he wasn't aware he was doing it, he would check for her. He couldn't help himself.
No.
He couldn't help it.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was gonna say that must have happened because for Olandria also to like have that confidence to like go and kiss him when she got to pick a kiss, knowing how she came in with that mindset of, oh, like white men don't like me, she must have gotten some hints that we missed in the episode because girls don't usually like go for a guy if they think that the guy doesn't want them. Like they usually want to have some type of like like reassurance first. Yeah.
And he was the first one she kissed. She kissed him before Three Dreads.
I know.
It was number one. No, and he said, she didn't give me her heart, I stole it. He literally said that.
Yeah.
I love to say that in every episode.
My God. He did. You can see it.
No, because even when he first started flirting with her, she would be like, oh, Nikki Poo, like laughing it up, thinking it was like banter. Like, no, girl, he wants you.
Listen, can I tell you, that is literally every Black woman who did not grow up in white spaces. Literally. I've seen that whole thing play out over and over and over again. I just happen to be raised in white space. That's how I recognize it. You get what I'm saying? And so we, Black women, they'll be like, they've been told, oh, white men fetishize you. Oh. And I used to have Black men tell me, when I would look at a white guy and go, oh, he's cute. This is when I was in high school. And they were like, well, why would you find a white guy cute? I'm like, aren't you dating a white girl?
Right.
Aren't you dating that white girl? And the excuses that I would get around it, and remember, they used to rape y'all and la la. I was like, those white women used to do the same thing to y'all. Y'all would die. So what is this? You know what I mean? And so I just never got caught up in that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna sit and wait for a man to find me attractive. If I am not getting any action over here, I'm going to move it right along. And I have just always been open to all men. I remember one of my Asian friends was like, you don't find Asian men attractive. I was like, Bruce Lee? Like, excuse me? Like, I like all men. I like all flavors. I will collect them all. Okay? So I think the thing that was so poignant for me with Olandria and Nick is that I have seen that play out way too many times with Black women not realizing, no, that white guy is really into you.
Yeah. And you know what I find interesting? Because the girls from the Olandria Corps, Ugona and Kaniva, they said like, if you look at Justin Bieber or guys that, famous guys who go for like supermodel types. And I get that. That's true. But that's for every famous person, right? Because that's the circles they move in. So that's what they see. Of course, if you can choose, if that's what's around you. But if you are normal, quote unquote, men, if you're open to it, just like you said, you'd be surprised how many white men are like passionately attracted to women who look like us in all types, shapes, sizes. I never forget that Viola Davis, beautiful, dark skin actress, she once said like, hey, I've seen all sorts of women of all sorts of ages, of all sorts of skin colors, of all sorts of body types, have lots of sex and lots of love. So come on, and that's because we just don't see that in the media and films and in, that's not real life.
Well, that's because they have to uphold the idea of white supremacy. That's the thing we like to forget.
Yeah.
That's why Black women typically have more confidence, really, because we didn't have the visual, right? So we had to get it from each other. Yeah. That's why, we big up each other. I'll see a Black woman walking down the street looking fly. I'm like, you look fly today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? But because we had to, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're waiting for the visual of it, you'll never get the visual. And it's
Mm.
very interesting too, because I remember, I want to say this was like 2019, 2020. All these billionaire white men kept saying, black women are for grown men. Because
Yes.
all these billionaire white men were marrying black women and not necessarily light skinned, y'all.
No, no,
Mhm.
no. A lot of, yeah, and look,
Yeah.
you know that song. You like that song, Lulu, from Eve and Gwen Stefani. If I
Yep.
had to build you up, na na na,
Oh
baby.
yeah.
So
True. No,
really,
even not long ago, literally, that reminds me, there was this group of guys, and like they're all black, but I guess they all mainly date like light skins and like white girls. But then one of the guys was trying to convince them to like, no, like you guys have to switch over to black girls. Like, yeah, white girls are fun and all, but black girls will really like put you in your place and teach you how to be a man for real. Like white girls aren't long lasting. You got to be with a black woman. To mature and grow up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like low-key super problematic, but like also okay, get it, I guess. Like,
We will make you up level.
yeah,
We will
yeah,
make you up level. There was a reason Beyonce created that song Upgrade You. And if
yeah,
you think about it, like, and let's go down the list, right? So our favorite white guy, they are favorite white guy, George Lucas. When
yeah.
he married his wife, a dark-skinned black woman, by the way, that most people would have just walked past. It's not that she's unattractive, she's just her, right? Very sagey. They'll walk past her. He fell in love with her and married her. His net worth tripled after
wow.
he married her.
Girl effect, the black wife effect. Remember that trend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the trend on TikTok, the black girlfriend of us.
Like,
Yeah.
his net worth tripled. Alexis Ohanian, when he
Yeah.
married Serena Williams, like, excuse
Yeah.
me, Eve. And you can't
Oh, yeah,
say
yeah. Oh, the song I was singing, that's Eve and Gwen
yeah,
Stefani. Eve, yeah.
yeah.
So that's women. Talk to
Eve,
me about
Eve,
Eve.
Eve married that multi-millionaire British guy, right?
Yeah.
And every last one of these women I'm talking about, all of them has had relationship with black men, and they were mistreated by said black men,
Yeah.
right? Eve, the way they treated her was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and she ended up with this white guy, and they mad every
Yeah.
time they see a picture of Eve with her husband. They
Yeah.
get so angry, and I
I mean,
just feel like, well,
it's about the, it's about the right connection. It's not,
yeah.
somebody has to champion you and honor you and adore you, and doesn't matter, as long as
What
somebody does
race? Because there are
that.
black men that do that. Because Russell Williams and Sierra is one of my. I didn't like them at first, but I really like them now. I
Yeah, but he has
really like them.
just to leave her alone and not have another baby. He keeps saying that he wants her to get pregnant again, and she wants her career. That annoys me.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Well, he's super Christian. I think that's why I didn't like them.
And
But
you have,
I like him for her
yeah, and
because
ASAP Rocky. He's
ASAP Rocky and Rihanna.
yeah,
ASAP Rocky said some problematic shit about dark skinned women,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
right?
And about black women and about gay women.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So like, but Rihanna for some reason grounds him in a way that I guess the other women did not. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
Yeah.
speaking of that, Tanisha, how do you feel about that sentence, struggle love? Can you explain that? Because that's something that I've heard lately, especially after Love Island, and because Ace and Shelley were seen as like, yeah, but that's real, and struggle is part of it. Struggle love. Is that a black thing?
It is, and it is steeped in slavery and Jim Crow, honestly, because they white people made laws that made it very very difficult for black men to have and keep work, and so the women did the majority of the work to financially support the family unit, and they went through that together. It's struggle love to me is the equivalent of trauma bonding, right? I truly believe, because I've dated a lot of black men that were not American as well, right? And I have a theory that black American women and black American men are our trauma does not coexist well together. And I think that's why we are finding that, and it's not a majority, guys, by the way. It's not a majority that majority of black men marry white women. That's not, the majority of black men marry black women. The majority of black women marry black men, right? But there's this understanding that they've supplanted Black love with struggle love, and they go together. And I'm like, no. Why do I need to struggle? Why do we have to go through things? Why does he have to cheat on me, and then and then realize that I was the one for? Why do I need to do all that? Love don't have to be like that, yo. Like, it really don't.
True love
like,
shouldn't be complicated.
It does not have to be complicated like that. You got to know what your values are. Me, when it comes to like me, I'm not a big girl on fidelity, but I find that people who are not faithful or who cheat lack emotional. They're emotional cowards. And I don't deal well with emotional cowards.
So speak on that. Why is that emotional?
Because if for the most part, not all, because I do believe some people cheat because of a circumstance. Like me and my roommate talk about Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce, right? And it was right after she miscarried their first child. And I think she was just in this deep, dark depression. And he, as a man, because we don't raise men to be emotionally savvy, didn't know what to do with that situation and went and found a way to deal with it, right? And it just happens he cheated, right? That's what we think it was. Now, most men, though, and most women who cheat are emotional cowards, because why couldn't you have the conversation? Why couldn't you sit down with that person and say, hey, I don't feel this is working, or hey, I feel like I'm lacking this, or hey, I'm not getting this from you and I want this from you. Instead, you go and cheat.
Yeah.
Or you get married to me and you expect, right? You expect us to be faithful because that is in our vows, right? And yet, every chance you get, you stepping out on me. So why you marry me? Did you marry me to take me off the market so you can have access to me while you still do your fuck shit? Or did you marry me because you saw a future with me? And it's not the actual cheating that's the problem for me, because I would be in an open relationship. Give me my polycule, God damn it. Give it to me. I need my two men. That's what I want. I need one to fix shit and one to buy shit. No. But it's the fallacy that we're supposed to be faithful to each other, and I'm being faithful to you, and you're out there cheating. And I remember when I was dating, I had this one guy tell me after he cheated on me, and I was like, bet. I went and had fun with somebody else, and he was like, I don't share. I was like, well, I shared you with X, Y, and Z. So if I'm sharing you, motherfucker, you're going to be sharing me. That's how I see it, right? So, but I'm a different type of woman. Don't listen to me. I'm a different type of woman.
You listen.
It's just what it is. But I think it's the height of emotional cowardice, and it's a lack of character. Because if you are that uncomfortable with having a conversation with someone about what your needs are, then why are we in this relationship?
So you are a priestess. Your work is empowering, finding the goddess within us and within us as women. What is your message now in this time frame? On one hand, it's such a difficult time right now, right? Politically, socially, culturally. On the other hand, we do have more openness for being LGBTQIU and to being more open as a dark-skinned Black woman, open to love and open to any kind of love. White love doesn't matter as long as it's the right love. What is your message as a woman to our beautiful dark-skinned sisters? What do you want to tell them?
The biggest thing: date men that like you.
Or women. Or no.
Or women. Yeah. Or pan people. Whatever that looks like for you, date people that like you. The difference between being loved and liked, and I'm not saying you have to have them separate, right? Because usually someone who loves you should like you. But I feel like women have gotten used to men loving them but not liking them. When a man likes you, there is nothing he won't do. I look at Nick and Olandria. Think about it, what she said in their interview. She said, because I remember when they had that conversation in Soul Ties. No, it wasn't Soul Ties. It was the Speakeasy. And she said to him, she goes, oh, you don't plan your trips? He goes, no, I just wing it. And she goes, that would drive me crazy. I wish I could be as carefree as you. Remember?
Yeah.
They come out, and what she says to him, yeah, I want to be a model. Like, they're just having a conversation. She's not thinking anything of it. She's like, I want to travel. I want to be a model. I want to do these things. You know what Nick did? He got to work.
They
He
traveled.
got to work.
And they did photo shoots.
And they did photo shoots. That first photo shoot for, what is it, Kulani's Keys? It was supposed to be just him. He told them, hey, I have this woman, and I think she'd be great for your brand, and I think you should pay her and pay for her to go to Greece with me to do this photo shoot. And they did. A man that likes you will go to the ends of the world for you. And so you have to, and I feel like this is also a message for men. Date women that you like.
Yeah.
Date
Not
women
for your guys' validation. Date them that you want.
It goes both ways. And if you have a feeling that man don't like you, sis, or that woman don't like you, sis, or that woman don't like you, bro, don't do it. It's a life of misery. It's a life of misery when you date someone that don't like you as a person.
Yeah.
And I will leave it at that. So however that shows up,
your self-hate.
yeah.
And I think what you said, very important, date men that like you, not love you. And with that goes in hand that like usually like guys who come up to you in like initial approach, like a lot of them are guys who love you based on looks or an idea they have about your looks and not actually as a character. Like, please, like, if anything, date somebody who you're friends with first. Like, please do not be fooled by the men that come on to you very hard and very strong, because I'm telling you, they like the idea of you. They don't actually like you. And when they realize there's an actual character behind these looks, they're gonna be like, ooh, never mind. So please, like, date men that you're actually like conversing with, not ones that are just coming up to you.
Right. And that's true. I'm gonna tell you, as a huntress, I get that. Like, men, they will see my independence and my fire and my not give a fuck, and they be like, oh, that's sexy, that's so sexy, they so sexy. And as soon as they start dating me, what they do, they try to tame me, they try to put me in this cage, and I'm like, the fuck we doing? no. And it wasn't until my roommate said it that it made sense. I was intuitively doing it, but when she gave me the words for it, date men that like you.
Yeah.
Period.
Shout out to your roommate.
That's all you need. Black, white, Latin, Asian. And trust me, I have lived in 5 countries around the world. Asia, Europe. Like, the men don't care that you are dark skinned and black. They see a beautiful woman. Yeah. Or what they see is beautiful. And that's what they want. And so I am hoping that to black women, dark-skinned black women in general, light-skinned, because light-skinned women have their own struggles. They have their own struggles because they feel outside of the community in many ways too, right? Understand that you are the blueprint. When you let that really sink in, you have this whole ass white woman named Kim Kardashian running around here popular because she morphed herself into a black woman feature-wise. Her whole clan did. And you are still running around here thinking that you're not attractive? Babes, don't make me reach through the camera and slap you. Like seriously, like, you are the blueprint. And once you realize you're the blueprint and you really let that sink in, it does not matter at all. If you want something, you're going to get it. Because I dated dark-skinned black men too. I've dated light-skinned black men. I've dated white men. I haven't dated Asian yet. That's on my list. But wait.
To be continued. You'll come back on the episode when you did that.
I want to thank you so much.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I want to think that's so
because
beautiful.
Either he gonna like you or he won't, and it has absolutely. I'm unless he's racist, it has absolutely nothing to do with your skin.
Literally.
I want to add one more thing. You asked me that question about black women. Also, black women, I want you to also take notice with Love Island. The 2 most sought after women on Love Island season 7 were dark-skinned black women by all the men.
Absolutely. This is so beautiful, Tanisha. I want to thank you so much. And I want to say to all the beautiful women, all of Black women, that representation is so important to see yourself, right? It's so look at different images. It helped me a lot at a young age to start looking at different images, not only looking at fashion magazines. I literally for a couple of years didn't even look at fashion magazines. I just started looking at different art, different women, and now with the internet there's so much more you can see. So find yourself, find that beauty that's so beautiful, diverse. And a big recommendation for that is, of course, Tanisha's gorgeous book about women and goddesses. We'll put the link in our show notes. Order that gorgeous book, have it with you all the time, because that's just a beautiful, inspiring book of beauty all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And as we always close out, I want to say, I love you, I love you, I love me, and we love y'all. Bye.
Bye.